Thank you for the ball. So,
thank you for organizing.
Yeah. So the idea for this panel discussion is about it's free for you to ask questions about voguing, about the culture. We have had some discussion here in Finland, and that kind of gave me the idea that this would be the perfect opportunity to ask people who actually know what they're talking about, instead of us talking here among each other, and we are not able to know the culture, we are not able to know everything involving the culture. So now it's a perfect opportunity for us to ask what it's all about. And Dashaun already knows some of the topics we have been wondering about, and we can start with those, but then it's also open for you to ask your questions and go from there. Cool?
Yep. Cool.
Hi guys.
I'm Dashaun.
So we started off, regardless, don't feel like any question is a wrong question to ask. Be open and be honest enough so we can be honest with you. We're gonna just share our experience with this, what we know. You know, we have people who've been here like longer than myself. Two good and longevity gentlemen who actually showcase a shadow, a plan and a line for us, for our time. Who we also did the same for people after, and you guys are actually going to do that for people after you as well. So again, don't be afraid to ask a question, and don't limit yourself. And let's try to have that open and honest dialogue, and try not to bring any personal feelings, but have that open dialogue to respect one another, to agree to disagree. Cool?
Yeah.
So feel free to ask any question, and we're not going to try to, okay, well, you got to be careful about asking us questions about our history too, because we can talk for a long time. So we'll try to answer as quick as possible without, going through our history, because it can happen. Okay? So, and I know there's a lot of dialogue that happens as far as about, well, I want to make things very clear about specific things that's visual, even from, I hate to say our side to your side, because number one, we're all an entity. We are not different from one another. So what we have to understand is you guys don't have that experience of the immediate ballroom culture, which happens in America, specifically on the East Coast or the Mecca of New York City. But people have different views of how they see things, as far as our culture being appropriated, or like how we are expanding and people losing control of it. So it's your guys' job and opportunity to let everyone know that you're not here to take anything, because people think it's a mainstream take, but you guys are not mainstream because you're just like us. Cool? So any questions that you have as far as that, because I'm sure people here are experiencing some things that people from the culture are even asking you questions and sending messages, or you try to communicate with people who are in immediate ballroom, but they don't understand where you're coming from. Cool? So I guess any questions you ask, let's try to be respectful about conversation and overlapping. Cool?
And of course, the first question comes from
Maddie. Oh, by all means,
Yes.
say your name.
Yes,
and if
please.
you want to say your category, by all means. And this is one thing I'm going to talk about a little bit later as well too. Be completely 100% into what you do. So express your category as well too, so we can know who's who and what you do. Cool? And if you got 5 categories, try to tell me your best one. Go ahead.
We were talking about before, and we actually had a small discussion, open discussion here in Finland last autumn, and people were asking different questions, and I wish that you can answer them now, because I feel like I'm not enough to answer them. And first one is different categories. People were asking why are they not open to all, and why specific categories are for specific people, and how can you open up a little bit of the different categories, because now they arrive more and more in Europe, and I think many people here don't know where they can enter and where they cannot.
It's open to everybody, because you're
Yes.
on the
Yeah.
What categories are you talking about as far as performance?
Every category.
like everything.
Open to all.
So your question is like, why do only butch queens come with butch queens?
Yeah. Kind of. If you can, I understand that, but if you can explain that.
Well, you know, ballroom was a culture that was created by gay people who were shunned by their families, right? So they all got together, and what they did was they created competitions within themselves, right? So in order to keep it fair, they made categories for men, for butch queens, and they made categories for femme queens at the time. When they expanded and they wanted to invite straight people to come into our culture, we made categories for women, specifically for women, and categories specifically for straight men. As ballroom evolved, now people are starting to build the categories together. For example, we were talking earlier how now instead of being called Femme Queen Performance, they've joined it with women and butch queen and drag, so now it's female figure. It's no longer specifically for the femme queens. In my opinion, I think it should go back to the original way, splitting it evenly so that people can have a fair chance to win. If you are a woman and you're battling a man who's in drags, he's probably stronger than you, right? So he probably can do more things than you can do, and it's not fair that you'll get slighted because you can't do something that he can do.
So
And that's the celebration of the variety in the first place.
Right,
That's
exactly.
how I see that.
Right, I agree.
Then that's why it's so special.
Yes, I agree.
And well, and then as well as there too, as far as specific categories, it opens up that opportunity for the individuality at the same time as well too. So, you know, years ago it wasn't many categories, so, you know, then it became, I mean, we experience this now, well, what about me? So, or what can I do? And sometimes you got to organize, like, what can we do to make this even bigger, to invite more people over? So this is why the separation started to happen, where you have, you know, the femme queen, which we acknowledge as transgender women. Those who went through the full transition. Drag queens, those who only, you know, get up in them, what we call get up in them, in drags, for maybe that night, that specific category, or whatever it is, and they're getting right out of it afterwards. So drags have their own category. Butch queens have their own category, which is that identity of a guy in general. Butch queen is a guy. So again, everybody had their specific category. So when it gets to stuff like open to all, that's like anybody could walk. Whether you're man, female, or you identify as trans or male or female, anything, anybody can walk. When it's like female figure, that's anything that involves any type of feminine or quality or trait. So that could be female, that could be drags, that could be trans in appearance.
Yeah, your appearance of a woman.
Yeah, it's like a visual identity.
But also, now it's becoming more open to also it allow, you know, the way of the world is equal opportunity for everyone. So now it just allows for everyone to compete against each other, but it also helps you to stimulate your mind because you have to be more witty. You have to figure out how can I counteract someone's physical strength with my femininity, perhaps, you know, or with any quality that you possess. You have to think better so that you can beat that person. So it allows everyone to be more on their toes, because there's been a lot of times when they've had open to all categories, and butch queens, femme queens, and cisgender women, which is the right term for that, have walked, and a girl will walk, like when we did the Love Ball, and it was me, Javier, Dashaun, and Danielle. Didn't Danielle win?
Yep.
Danielle won, and it's all about being smart. So when it comes to you guys and your categories, I don't, I think that your, femme queens, or femme queens, y'all don't have a big community in that area. Is very small. So eventually it will build up, but making it open to all just allows you to be more on point. You know, you don't always have to be that way, but it's just an option. So you can kind of like have it whatever way you want.
And also one thing about, you know, Europe or anything outside of America in general is that the ballroom culture is dominated by females compared to America, where it's dominated by people of the LGBTQ lifestyle. So it makes it more difficult for people who are here because what they see in America is the LGBTQ life. And of course people want to experience it as well here, but it's dominated by women. So it's also a thing about the ballroom culture. Although we can be quite shady, we're still open up our doors to anyone. So regardless of your male, female, trans, or anything, we're opening our doors for you. And we're giving opportunity for everybody, because you never know what a group of female figures can create to open up something for a group of male figures, and it's vice versa. So, you know, one thing is ballroom have an open heart. We're shady in boots, but we have open hearts. Because we don't say, oh, you can't come here because you're a girl. You can't come here because you're young. You can't come here because you're old. Anybody can do it. And one of the hardest things to do is try to bring it together, because everybody have their own views and points. So we just have to make sure that you guys just support one another, no matter what category you are, no matter what gender you are, or no matter who you support, in your house or outside of your house. The community starts with you.
Did we answer your question?
Yeah. And please, all the other people ask.
Go for it.
I have a slightly complex question, if I may.
Go for it, Mom.
All right. So some year ago, I think Allianz made a commentary about the European ballroom scene, and he summed it up in one sentence. It was pretty smartly formulated. It said, "The ballroom scene, the European ballroom scene, was born out of competition, not shade." Now, my question is, if we assume that's true, if that were the case, that the shade is left somehow hanging somewhere because the competition is based, the ballroom scene was emerged from competition. Is that, can one see that as a development of the culture, or does it leave room for, let's say, appropriation?
I think competition creates shade, and I think the reason why the shade comes because everybody wants to win. And when you're competing, there's really only one winner. So if everybody coming to a ball to win, it's going to create some type of shade. But I just think that you should leave the shade on the floor. Like, it shouldn't go off the floor. You shouldn't walk out the venue or the ball with hate. You should just have it on the floor and leave it there. Kind of like turn it on and turn it off.
And
It's a show, right? When you hit the runway, you're putting on a show. So that's why I try to tell people to be somebody else, so that even if somebody throws shade towards you, you just say, oh, that's not towards me, that's my alter ego. You know what I mean? You can brush it off a little easier.
And also, ballroom is always gonna, it's like the world. In the world, you have good and you have evil. In ballroom, you have good and you have evil. So you can't possibly get ballroom without shade. It's not gonna happen. Because everybody has different personalities. Some people are sweet as pie, and some people is nasty as nails. You know, so when they had the competition, trust me, the shade was there already. And the appropriation will only come if someone who doesn't participate in it or engage in it and tries and sees it as an opportunity, tries and takes it and does something with it. When it's genuine to people like you, you're in it, you know, you're trying to learn, you come to classes, that's not appropriation. You're just trying to be a part, you know, of it. So.
Did we answer your question?
Yeah.
I'm going to say that all the time, because I want to make sure that when you leave here, you feel that you've been full of information and not half of the information we give you.
I just wanted to add here, like, we've been talking in Finland many times that because we have such a small community, if everybody is against each other, we don't have any community at all anymore.
Exactly.
If we shade, we don't go to that ball or that ball, we'll be like two people. So
But you're always going to
yeah.
have that. You
Yeah.
can't get rid of it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you can't.
Yeah. There, of course, there's some, but like to get along, we need to get along.
Yeah, it would be
Yeah.
lovely if we all could get along.
Yeah, but just like not like that, but like you know what I mean.
The beautiful thing that you guys have that we no longer have is that you're new. So you can set the tone for whatever you want your community to be. You don't have to follow what we follow. I love the fact yesterday how even Dashaun commented, how people hugged and just laughed after they lost. You know, we get that in New York, but we don't get that often. You know what I mean? It depends on, to Stanley's point, the different people. The good people will hug you and, you know, walk off, and the bad people will probably not hug you and throw shade at you when the ball is over. But when you're battling somebody, say for example, me and you were battling, and you win over me, I shouldn't be mad at you. If I'm gonna be mad at anybody, I should be mad at myself, and I should be mad at the judges, not you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how a lot of animosity happens between people within the same category. Oh, I'm better than you. No, they just picked you over me. That doesn't mean you're better than me. Or you had a good night. That doesn't mean that you're better than me. You never know whether you're gonna win or lose when you hit that floor. You never know, no matter how much you practice.
That's why it's always best to just do it for fun.
Yes, and keep it fun.
And also, when you walk in, one thing you should always know, if you walk in, if you can take a 10, you should be able to take a chop. If you can take a win, you should be able to take a loss. And one thing I noticed at y'all yesterday that I see that was refreshing, when some of y'all was winning and stuff, y'all was like, girl, you did good. Girl, you was amazing. Like, it wasn't like...
It was some shade
It was still-
yesterday. I saw some
It was a
shade.
little shade.
I didn't see any off
It was
the
little
runway.
shady, but I seen a lot of uplifting moments
Yes.
when people was losing and winning and stuff. Like, you know, they was like, okay, girl, tonight, but you did good. Then you got something that was like a little better, but I didn't feel like it was going to go somewhere from it.
And another beautiful thing that I saw, I think it was the old way category, when I think you had got eliminated, but you were still cheering for the for the next
he
person.
won.
No, I was talking to.
Oh.
Yeah,
That's-
I'm
that's
sorry.
how-
Yeah, I'm just saying. But the fact that you continue to, but even still, the fact that you still continue to cheer and you don't let that affect you. And then after the ball, you said we're family. I love that. You can still be in different houses and still be friends and family. And you know,
They're always in finals
See?
in the old way.
That's what I was just
And
about to
I don't know who put them
They got
together.
shady here, trust
Dashaun, you put them together.
say.
Aviance.
No.
Oh, Aviance is picking.
Yeah, because they're always in finals together in the
You have
old
to
way.
battle a lot with each other, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
always the
That's
finals.
why that happened.
It's so. You know what? Any other questions? Let's move forward.
Yeah.
Raya.
Yeah, actually that was a good topic because I was thinking also that we have had some judge from the state saying also that you need to be good without shade. That you don't want to bring shade to Europe. You would like to keep it, you know, clean. But now you are saying that you can,
Shade is
so that
already
you can always use it on the runway.
on the runway,
shade.
yes.
right.
But shade is already in Europe. Don't get it twisted.
Yes.
Like it's here and it's alive. You know, it's nice if it's not, but it's here. It's everywhere. Wherever you go, it's
You
shade
just don't want
everywhere.
you just don't want shade to turn into too much negativity.
Or personal.
That's what, yeah, personal, because
Yeah.
in the US we have sometimes a lot of negativity and a lot of bad vibes and stuff like that, and it's hard to fix that. Once it get out of hand and too many people start to act that type of way,
Yeah.
it's hard to fix it.
It goes to dramatic. So
Yeah.
She said it would go to dramatic.
Yes.
Like sometimes it's about a lot of money for the price in the US. So maybe that's why it's more like a. because
You mean the
it's like-
categories are for a high
yeah,
dollar category?
It's
So
like sometimes a lot of money, like, and so, you know.
that's a problem that we're trying to address now as a unit, right? We're trying to tell people that you don't have to make a category for $5,000 or $10,000 because a lot of people depend on that money for their rent and their livelihood. So when they don't win, they take it personal but you shouldn't, because every time you hit the floor, you're not guaranteed to win.
It's like
And just because
casino.
you see somebody on the panel who you know, they're not guaranteed to give you their 10. They don't have to. If they want to be fair, you know what I mean?
I actually, go first. Dan. Go for it. Mine's gonna be a little bit long. Go for it.
Me personally, I don't think the dollar amount is the reason, because back in the days, it was the same thing. Like a lot of time, like when there was no high grand prizes, there was still threats being made and chops being done because people were bitter or whatever. I think it's just simply a matter of different personalities. If you have a person who just has a bad personality and who is a sore loser, it can be $50 billion or 5 cents. They're still going to be bitter. no matter what you do, it's just bitter Betty is going to be bitter Betty.
So one of the things that was, I'm actually some live right now, and Jamie is watching. She's a icon woman's face in America, and she asked a good question. And she said, so this is my question to you, and a serious one. Why is it I never see women overseas teaching or performing? So interesting. She said, only Danielle, majority of attendees are women. And from most of the footage I see, it's like 80% women that attend these classes of all. Is Danielle only qualified to teach? So she has this question. But so is it the thing about, like, I see people on the outside see what's going on here, just like you see what's going on the outside as well too. So I told you, majority in Europe is ruled by women, because it's to be honest, European is, you know, got that women scene. And to answer your question, Jamie, and answer everybody else's as well too, when we go from country to country or city to city or whatever we go to, you know, we're giving you our knowledge and our information. So, you know, it's difficult for people to pass it on when you have a small scene, but it's up to you guys to build it. So, and I know, you know, majority is just women because the lifestyle is different from out here than what it is in America. So, I want you to know, you take the information that you learn from here and from whatever country you live or whatever city you go to, you're bringing back your information to try to build your scene more. Because I know people ask the question of how we can make London bigger, or how can we, you know, make Russia less shady, or Paris less shady, or this and that. So you just have to take what you know and your knowledge and bring it there. You know, you're going to learn different information from different people. Marquis' experience as being a legend is different from Dashaun being a legend, from Jamal being an icon, from Stanley being an icon. So we all have our different experience of ballroom. And what we pass on to you, or what you soak up from us, is just how you take from it. And now some people may be shady, and maybe that's the way that you learn it. And then you take that and implement it inside there. So again, you have to be mindful, you know, although you got some great people in front of you, you take the information and you process it for yourself and not make that of what a person tell you what it is. Cool? No? Any questions? Yes, go for it.
No, it's more like, if I might add something to that, about the scene here being dominated by women. Could it also possibly, because of how Vogue was introduced to the continent, it was introduced as a dance more than a lifestyle, you would say, which, and statistically, I mean, in dance classes you would get, I mean, I work with dance, you would get like 90% girls and 10% guys. So it's, I guess, with the exception of maybe the Paris scene, like everywhere else was introduced through a dance studio, and hence I guess that's why a lot of women found more.
By the way, Naomi's watching. Naomi's watching right now. So, I mean, if I can input, and I'm sure everybody have more to say as well too. One thing that put voguing on such a platform is social media. Is put it on such a platform where it can reach the places that we didn't even know it can reach. To us, it was just local. We going from one state to the next, enjoying it, and after it's over, girl, I got a job in the morning. But it was introduced as a dance through social media, because what people seen it was, at first, you know, everybody knew what voguing was, and it's still, if you ask people, they just think Madonna.
Yeah.
Immediate thing. But when it went on YouTube, or when it came out and it started to become popular, you start to see these clips, and then now people are voguing, and you get to see what it is, and to you or to people from the outside looking in, look like this is a dance that I don't know nothing about. So they want to learn, and you weren't able to reach us immediately, so you had to get your own experience from it. So when the dance competition started to implement it, that was the only way to bring it there. And like you said, what Avian said it as well too, you know, we learned our Vogue or our, you know, ballroom culture from personal experience, from being involved. A lot of people outside aren't involved, so they learn it through studio. So it's like, okay, so it's studio voguing compared to ballroom voguing. And you have to be mindful definitely about who you bring here, because you may see somebody have a clip up online who's teaching voguing but never walked a day in a ball. And you bring them out here and you're getting the wrong information. So when you do get someone like us who comes here and you get the right information, then you're like, well, this one said this, this, and that. And then it turns into, well, who's this one?
See, let's piggyback like something you said at class the other day when you was like, is it different from voguing? Everybody can vogue, but why are you doing it? So some people don't know the feeling of why they vogue, and they just know, oh, this was somebody taught me, this just movement.
Well, this is on trend. So
Yeah, this is on trend.
Because this is on trend, I'm going to start voguing.
And like again, it's not a struggle for you. So this, and I hate to say it like that, but it's not a struggle for you because our experiences, how we went through it. Okay, we're black gay men up here. So number one, right now, as you see what's going on in America, there's three things. That's a problem. We're black, then we're gay, and then we're black gay men. And our struggle has been difficult for all. So your experience is not the struggle that we experience. Your experience is different. So, like I said, it's become a dance for you because you don't have to put in so much effort to try to prove anything because it's like, I'm having a good time. We was having a good time, but I'm sure you ask us some questions, we'll give you like more than 5 times we had to prove something.